Hello, and welcome back to Sketchbook Biology. I saw a bit of frost on the ground yesterday, and I am not prepared mentally for the winter. Really, I'm never prepared. I don't think my brain has ever registered that winter happens every year. One day it'll snow and the temperatures will plummet, and I'll just have to deal with it. And it's not just me, I know I can't be the only one who dreads the winter, but somehow we all unhappily get through it. And that flexibility is remarkable. This flexibility in the way we animals respond to changing physical and social environments is fascinating. So, for this week's episode, we're going to forget about the eventuality that is winter and head to the beach to annoy some crabs. Animals show a lot of strategy and flexibility in communication, especially when the opposite sex is involved. The effort animals put into courtship signaling depends very heavily on who they're trying to impress and whoever else might be watching. Scientists call this idea tactical adjustment hypothesis, the idea that animals fine-tune their signals moment by moment to get the biggest payoff for the smallest cost. And that is exactly what researchers from the Center of Research in Animal Behavior, or CRAB for short, at the University of Exeter set out to study. And appropriately, they chose a population of Afruca tangeri, a small, colorful fiddler crab species that live in the mudflats of the Rio Formosa Natural Park on the southeastern coast of Portugal, as their study species. Male fiddler crabs have one huge claw that can make up a third of their body weight, and they wave this thing to attract females. Bigger claws and faster waving usually and understandably gets more attention. But having a ginormous appendage is a lot of work. The claw is heavy and waving it burns energy and slows you down when you're trying to get away from predators. So these fiddler crabs need to decide when it's time for a full performance and when it's time to cut it short. During low tide, males emerge from their burrows to maintain their homes, feed, and perform waving displays. And females also come out from their burrows to feed, do a bit of housekeeping, but more importantly, to look out for big honking boy claws. These crabs often live close together, sometimes up to 17 burrows in a single square meter. That also means lots of competition, lots of showing off, and lots of spying on what the neighbors are doing. Now that last bit was what our scientists were most interested about. To understand how males respond to rivals with different claw sizes and display intensities, the scientists built a biomimetic robot crab using 3D scans of real crab specimens. So this very realistic mechanical crab was also designed to fit interchangeable major claws, one average sized and one oversized, that was attached to a small servo motor which made it so that this claw can be waved at different speeds. By changing how this robot waved, the researchers hoped to see whether real male fiddler crabs adjusted their own behavior. Essentially, the researchers wanted to know, do fiddler crabs notice and try to outcompete a flashy neighbor, or do they just stick to their own routine and hope for the best? Oh, and I forgot to mention the best part. The researchers named this fake robot crab Wavy Dave, and got him all ready for a beach day with other real crabs. And Wavy Dave was showing a lot of promise in eliciting a reaction from real crabs, because the first few times he was placed down, a few males definitely charged at him and almost dismantled him. So the male fiddler crabs definitely saw him as a threat. For the actual trials, the researchers selected an active male that was waving beside his burrow and cleared the area around him by plugging nearby burrows to prevent interruptions, temporarily of course. They placed Wavy Dave about 30 centimeters away. This is about as close as a normal neighbor would be, and the researchers began recording with 2 GoPro cameras positioned on opposite sides to catch all the action. Each trial ran through a sequence of 4 5-minute conditions, with Wavy Dave first not waving, Second, waving at one of two speeds, slow or fast. 3. Not waving again, and finally waving at the other speed. All these changes were made remotely, of course, so the human experimenter could stay more than 10 meters away, avoiding influencing crab behavior. If the focal crab didn't emerge from his burrow within 7 minutes, the trial was scrapped and retried later. This is important because crabs may also go into their burrows to avoid predators, fights, rest, or just to wet their gills. Once a trial was successfully finished, some males were carefully trapped, measured, and marked with paint so they wouldn't be reused. The researchers noted their claw length, carapace width, and weight. And for those that weren't caught, body size was estimated from video footage. Of the 70 males tested, only 58 trials were used in the final analysis because, well, some were interrupted by people walking by, or when a male fled after losing a fight to a wandering crab. From the many hours of video footage, the scientists recorded the exact times when each crab waved, entered or exited his burrow, or encountered other males or females nearby. Back in the lab, to understand how the males reacted to Wavy Dave, the researchers used two main statistical tools. First, they used a hurdle model to look at burrow use, to see whether a crab went into hiding and, if so, for how long. This model let the researchers separate the crab's decision to retreat from Wavy Dave from how long they would usually stay underground. Next, they used hidden Markov models to track changes in signaling behavior over time. These models estimated how likely crabs were to switch between these waving and non-waving states and how fast they waved in each, depending on Wavy Dave's claw size, waving speed, nearby females, temperature, and even the time of day. And the results of these experiments showed that the fiddler crabs seemed to have a very thorough understanding of risk and reward. When Wavy Dave was just chilling on the beach, male fiddler crabs often hid underground, regardless the size of Wavy Dave's claw. But the moment Wavy Dave started waving, males were less likely to hide, especially if Dave was sporting a small claw at the time. However, a big claw on Dave appeared to make the fiddler crabs more cautious. Bigger claws may be harder to compete with and even harder to deal with should a fight break out. If a male crab did retreat, they didn't stay buried for long if Dave was already waving. And the faster Dave waved, the sooner the crabs came back out. Interestingly, Wavy Dave's claw size and waving speed didn't make the male fiddler crabs wave any faster, but it did affect how long they kept it up. Males tended to keep waving longer when Dave waved quickly, but slow or no waving from Dave did not prompt the fiddler crabs to change their behavior. This suggests that these fiddler crabs aren't just mimicking their rivals, they're gleaning social information from them. A fast-waving neighbor usually signals that a female is nearby, so a male that notices this might stay active longer to improve his own odds of being seen. Now, if you remember, reduction in burrow use during a Wavy Dave performance might fit the same logic. If rival crabs are waving, there's probably a female in the area. And so it's probably a good idea to stay above ground to 1. Try to impress this female, or 2. Find out if there really is a female before spending all that energy waving. Altogether, this study shows that male fiddler crabs adjust when and how long they display based on rival signals, but not how intensely they wave. Instead of increasing the speed or energy of their display, they change how much time they spend performing, based on how much competition they're facing. And that is where we leave these tiny crabs with their huge claw. A special thank you to researchers Joe Wilde, Safi Darden, Jordan Hart, Michael Weiss, Samuel Ellis, and Tim Fawcett, and anyone else that helped create and publish this wonderful piece of science. And thank you for listening and watching. If today is your birthday, I wish you the loveliest day at the beach. And And if you're feeling the winter blues creeping in, go get yourself a nice warm cup of hot chocolate. But if you're just out there, thinking about swinging your claw at the beach, please don't, no matter how big it is. But please do like and subscribe. I'll see you again soon. Peace.